here we go. Thank you. Thank you very much. What an honor to be with you today. I can't thank you enough for this opportunity to deliver my first commencement address as a United States Congressman. And I could not have chosen a better place than Frederica Academy, so thank you. Thank you very much. Before I get started, I want to make sure, now it's been a long time since I've been in high school, but I will tell you that I think I understand the situation that exists here today. I'm in the shade, many of you are in the sun. A little more than a year from now, I'll be running for re-election and many of you will be voting. I will be brief, I promise you. You know, as I was driving down here this morning from Savannah, I couldn't help but think, my good friend Mike Temple, who coached my three sons at another school, I got to thinking about a trip that I took with my two oldest sons when they were young. And it was the traditional trip that you take to Disney World. And I remember that I was really looking forward to it, and I was really excited about it, but I was not looking forward to the drive. Now, many of you dads can appreciate this because I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to start, and sure enough, it did. But I just didn't know it was going to happen this quickly. You see, it happened almost as soon as we got out of our driveway. The two little tots in the back. Daddy, are we there yet? Now, how many of you dads have heard that before? Daddy, are we there yet? Well, I tell you, I just knew that I couldn't take that 5.5, 6 hour trip down to Orlando with that constant, Daddy, are we there yet? So I stopped the car, and I turned around, and I looked, and I said, look here, guys, I don't want to hear any more, Daddy, are we there yet? I turned around, and I started driving again. My wife looked over at me, and she gave me one of those looks that says, you have just ruined the whole trip for everybody. So I was feeling kind of bad. We got down the road a little bit further, and my oldest son, he chimed in. He said, Daddy, can I ask you something? I was feeling bad, and I said, sure, son, what is it? He said, Daddy, when we get there, will I still be 5 years old? Well, you know, I tell you, I am going to be brief today, but I do want to talk to the graduates, and I want to recognize, first of all, your accomplishments. And I want to say just three things about your accomplishments. First of all, I want to talk about the importance of your accomplishment. I want to talk about the significance of your accomplishment. And I want to talk about the responsibility of your accomplishment. First of all, let's talk about the importance of your accomplishment. You have accomplished something that is very important. It's very important to you. It's very important to your family, to your friends. It's very important to your community, to your state, to your country. We have to have an educated populace in order to have a successful democracy. It's very important. But please let me tell you, let me warn you, it does not necessarily mean that you are important. Now let me give you an example. I'm asked from time to time, buddy, you've served as a mayor, you've served as a state representative, you've served as a state senator. Do you ever feel important? And I tell the truth, yes, there was a time that I felt important. Because I'll tell you, it's an honor to serve as a state representative. It's an honor to serve as a state senator. And it's certainly an honor to serve as a member of the United States Congress. But let me tell you, when you're the mayor, you're the man. That's all there is to it, let me tell you. And I remember when I was elected mayor. And I remember that. And I remember, I'm a small businessman. Every morning I go to my store and I do the same thing. I go straight to the back and I go to the broom closet. I get my broom and I get my little trash picker up, or I go and I sweep out front and I pick up the trash. But this was a different day. After all, I'm the mayor. And I walked in and my tech, she was already there and she was typing away, and I walked behind her. I said, good morning. She said, good morning. She said, congratulations. I said, well, I am the mayor now. I went to the back, I got my broom, I got my trash picker up, or I came back through and I stopped behind her and I said, wait a minute, now that I'm the mayor, have I still got to go out front and sweep and pick up the trash? And she did not miss a beat. In fact, she did not even bat an eye. She just shot right back at me. She said, if you want it done, you do. Well, I thought I was over it at that time, but I guess I wasn't really, because later on that afternoon, I went to the nursing home where I serve as a consultant pharmacist, and I was reviewing charts, and I guess my mind got to wondering because I got to thinking, wow, I'm the mayor now. And there was this sweet lady sitting across from me, and she was minding her own business, and I looked over at her, and I said, "Excuse me, ma'am, but do you know who I am?" And she looked at me, and she said, "No." I looked at her, and I said, "You mean to tell me you don't know who I am?" She said, "No." By this time, I was pretty frustrated. I just looked down and I shook my head and I said, "I can't believe you don't know who I am." And she was so sweet. She got up out of her seat and she kind of shuffled over there to where I was sitting. She put her hand on my shoulder and she said, "Honey, if you'll go over there to that nurse's station, they'll tell you who you are." Your accomplishment today is important, but it does not mean that you're important, okay? Just keep that in mind, but it is important, and let me congratulate you on that. Your accomplishment is also significant. It's significant in a number of different ways. It signifies hard work. It signifies commitment. It signifies determination. All of those are great character traits, and you should be congratulated because it is very significant. And yes, it does signify that you are smart. Yes, it does. You would not be graduating if you weren't smart. But let me warn you, as smart as you are today, as smart as you will be one day, you will never be as smart as your mother. It is just not going to happen, I'm telling you, okay? The story's told about a young man who moved away from home for the first time. He got his own apartment. He was gone for a couple of months. He called his mother up. He said, "Mom, I've got a roommate, someone to share expenses, and we'd like for you to come over and have dinner with us." The mother said, "That's great, son. I'd love to." So the mother showed up, and you can imagine the mother's surprise when she realized that her son's roommate was a female, very pretty, attractive female. Intuitively, the mother started thinking, I see what's going on here. Also intuitively, his son was thinking, "Mom, no. We are roommates, we're just sharing expenses." The mother said, "Okay." Well, they enjoyed a nice meal that night and had a very good visit. The mother left. The next morning, the roommate came up to the son. The roommate said, "We are missing our silver sugar bowl. And I saw your mother with it last night, and I think she took it, and I want it back." The son said, "Oh my goodness, what am I going to do?" So the son wrote his mother a note. He said, "Mom, I'm not saying you did, and I'm not saying you didn't, but did you take our silver sugar bowl?" A couple of days later, he got a note back from his mother. It said, "Son, I'm not saying you do, and I'm not saying you don't, but if your roommate was sleeping in her own bed, she'd find that silver sugar bowl." You will never be as smart as your mother. Let me tell you that. But it is significant, very significant. The third thing and the last thing that I want to talk about is the responsibility of your accomplishment. And this is where I get a little serious here because, yes, it is a responsibility, a big responsibility. You see, we're depending on you. We're depending on you to be involved. Someone just said that to those who are given much, much is expected. And we're expecting a lot out of you. You have a responsibility to be involved, a responsibility to be involved in your community, to be involved in leadership positions. We really need you. You know, democracy is not easy. And when I say you have a responsibility to be involved, I mean public service as well. Yes, you have a responsibility to your family, to your friends, but you have a responsibility also to your community, to your state, to your country. And yes, when I refer to public service, I refer to politics. Now, I know that many of you think of politics and it's somewhat distasteful. In fact, I'll go as far as to say that many of you think of politics and you think it's disgusting. And trust me, and those who serve in politics here, I'm sure will attest that at times it can be disgusting. But it is necessary. And it's necessary that we have good, smart people involved. You know, Winston Churchill said years ago, democracy is the worst form of government known to man. except for all the others that have been tried from time to time. It's not easy. That's why we need you. That's why we need you to be involved. You've been blessed. You've been blessed, and we need you. We need you to help us. As a child of the 70s, one of my favorite songwriters has always been Jackson Browne. I love his music. I love his songwriting. One of his songs is For a Dancer, and in that song he says, "Into a dancer you have grown from the seeds that someone else has thrown. Go ahead and throw some seeds of your own. For in the time that you arrive and the time that you go may lie the reason you were alive, but you'll never know." You've become a dancer, and what a great dancer you've become. We are so very proud of each and every one of you, and we look forward with great anticipation to all that you will do in your life. So congratulations on your accomplishment, the importance of your accomplishment, the significance of your accomplishment, and yes, the responsibility of your accomplishment. You know, there was a time in my life when I believed that the greatest joy a person could possibly know was the joy of being loved. Until one day I realized that the greatest joy a person can possibly know is the joy of giving love. My hope for you is that you will experience the great joy of being loved, and that you will experience the greatest joy of all, and that is of giving love. Congratulations, and God bless each and every one of you.